talking.
What's up there, Metal Summoners? It is so great to see you guys, as always, kicking off your weekend in the middle of the week and hanging out with all the amazing guests that Angel and I get to hang out with as well and talk to. And thank you so much, as always, for supporting the show every week and kicking ass, because by allowing us to talk to these guests and you guys being so awesome in your participation, it allows them to continue to put out the music and continue to tour and continue to play out, because that's what shows them that you guys appreciate everything that they do. And we appreciate everything that they do as well. And we're going to jump right into it and have a little bit of fun. As always, this is your Island of Misfit Toys. We got myself and Angel, and we're going to rev it up a little bit tonight. We saw these guys back in Nashville when we were up there for Rockin' Pod. That's where they kind of like came across our radar. And, you know, as they were making the rounds and, you know, signing foreheads and kissing babies and doing all that kind of stuff. But we've got Engines in Ruin joining us right now. First and foremost, guys, thank you so much for giving us some of your time this evening. It's an absolute pleasure. Mark, Tony, thank you so much. Welcome to the Metal Summit.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Thank you for having us.
Yes, sir. Awesome intro too. That intro is so heavy. I love it.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much, guys. Yeah, we got our friend Shad to thank for that. You know, we took a bunch of our photos and stuff, put together some music for it, and threw our name into the lyrics and stuff. It came out really, really good. So it's like, oh yeah, we got definitely a darker, heavier side of the Metal Summit right now. So it's definitely been awesome when it comes to that. But first and foremost, guys, you know, congratulations are in order. We need to jump right into your recent song release in Rake. Congratulations there, guys. It's always got to be great to have new music out.
Thank you. Oh yeah. Yeah. Have at it, Mark.
Yeah, well, that song all started from the guitar riff, and the demo was titled Rake. That wasn't originally planned to be the title of the song, but I just titled the demo that because it starts out with that rake of the harmonics that starts the riff. And so I had just laid that riff on that demo on Tony, and it was titled Rake. And he's like, I think I'm going to go with that on the lyrics. And I said, really? How you going to make a hook out of that? And, so he kind of spun it into this whole romantic thing that turned out to be you might tell him the inspiration for the lyrics, Tony.
Well, you could call it a love song, or a rake your nails right down my back is the chorus. So you use your imagination. It's a lust song, I guess, and a love song and a romance song, but heavy.
I feel like it's your guys' answer to Buck Cherry's Crazy Bitch.
Yeah.
All I heard was lust, but okay.
Yeah. We added a little. We're cunning linguists around Engines of Ruin.
Nice. No, absolutely. For sure, guys. And we definitely got to take it back a few months to when we guys when we saw you up at Rockin' Pod, because Angel and I have now done a bunch of Rockin' Pods, and we're always appreciate to Chris and Tracy's courtesies when they invite us up there for that. But talk a little bit about your guys' experience with Rockin' Pod. I mean, you've got so many local peers that are around, also just so many just musical peers in general that are there. but it's such a cool overall, like, meet and greet vibe. But I would love to hear a little bit about your guys' experiences.
Well, the Rockin' Pod thing was interesting for us because I was the only one there. I had just hooked up with Tony. We had just met, and he was still living in Colorado. We met through one thing that is fortunate about us being in the Nashville area is there's a lot of there's several promoters in the area that do these different collective shows where they'll bring in 50 to 100 local musicians, and some of them are set up to where it's a different group of players on every song. Some of them are set up to where a group will come up and do 3 or 4 songs, and then it'll be the next group. And it's typically, of course, paths cross and what have you, but often you're going up and playing with people that you've never played with before, and oftentimes people that you've never even met before. And our good buddy John Daniels promotes one of those shows here in town called Nash Jam. And John knew. See, I started this, take you back a little bit. It's kind of a long story. I'll try to keep it short, but
No worries.
I started the whole Engines of Ruin thing a couple of years ago. It was a concept in my mind. It was kind of the band that I wanted to have. But it was just a concept because I was still looking for the personnel. And I had music written. I wanted to get the name out, and start getting accounts set up on Spotify and Facebook and all that stuff that's, part of the process. And still didn't have a singer for the band, still didn't have a front man. And so what I started doing was bringing in guest vocalists to sing on a track, and then I'd put it out, and then I'd bring another person in, sing on a song, put it out, just to get the wheels turning and get the ball rolling. And John Daniels, the promoter at Nash Jam, knew that I was looking for the right singer for this project. And I'd been looking for a while because I wanted to find the right person. I didn't want to just go out there and start doing it with just anybody. And Tony had came into town and did one of the Nash Jams, and we happened to be there the same night. And John saw Tony. I saw Tony. I didn't think anything about it because I figured, well, heck, this guy lives in Colorado. It's it's not even a shot, And well, it turns out John and Tony got to talking, and of course Tony can tell you more firsthand if I'm getting the story wrong. But Tony's like, man, I love this scene. I think I'm thinking about relocating to this area. And of course, the light bulb went off in John's mind because John knows the kind of music and vibe that I like, and of course John saw that in Tony, and he's like, he's like, I know a guy you should hook up with. And Tony's like, oh, who? And he's like, you see that crazy looking dude over there with the makeup on? And Tony's like, oh, I kind of had my eye on him anyway. So
Yeah.
that's how the connection made. And then we started talking, and Tony was able to come back into town, and we got together and did some writing and stuff. And man, everything just clicked so well. We had so many things in common, and we liked a lot of the same style of music, and he liked the things that I was writing, and I liked the feel and the things that he was writing, and of course loved his voice. And so long story short, I got his ass to Nashville, and then we started doing the thing together. So back to Rockin' Pod, we had just met. Tony hadn't moved to town yet. I had actually signed up for Rockin' Pod before I met Tony because I'm like, hey, well, this thing's coming. I still don't have a band, but I still want to get the name out there. I still want to be seen, to get the logo seen and all that. So I was going to Rockin' Pod regardless. And, it just so turned out that I was able to go with a little more confidence because I knew I had something that was coming along pretty soon, or at least we hoped it was.
Yeah, it was kind of funny too. It was like matchmaker with John, because because I went out there, did my set. We weren't on the same sets, but I met, I was like a starry-eyed kid with, out there. I was leaving Denver, which, it's got its cool music scene, and I was doing heavy metal and stuff out there for a while, but just not as serious of players, and I get out here and I'm like, oh, there's 60 guys back here that are just world class, but I had two guitarists like in the back of my head. I was like, I'd be in a band with that guy, and Mark was one of them. Just how he carried him, and it was so weird. We were both asking John at the time, and John didn't know. You know, he came up to me and was like, "Hey, do you know how to write? Can you write lyrics?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's why I want to come out here." And I guess, of course, Mark was already like, "Hey, who was the guy who just sang Chris Cornell?" And little did we know, we're both asking about each other, and no one knew yet. And then it was like, oh yeah, you both have just asked about each other, so you might as well talk to each other and see what happens. And it all happened pretty quick after that. I wasn't going to come out about 7 months later, but that expedited the situation.
Absolutely, for sure. Mark,
Yeah.
when it comes to yourself with the band, I mean, you've got an incredibly, unique look and style in yourself, not only just in the way that you play, but also in your actual physical and visual appearance on the stage, as well as making appearances at Rockin' Pod. That was one of the things that I always noticed is I saw you walking around the venue. And then also one of the things too is I came back to the table after like making some rounds of my own, and there were these little Engines of Ruin guitar picks sitting on the Metal Summit table, and so that was also one of the other things too, where I was like, I'm gonna research this as well, because this guy's walking around and he's dropping things off at tables. I was like, I'm definitely gonna have to keep this in mind for sure. But what was it for yourself that that you wanted to put together such a unique look for not only yourself, but for the band as well, as something that could be remembered like it did with me for somebody that hadn't met you yet?
Well, I think you used the right word. It's, I did want to be remembered. I wanted to be noticed. I wanted to be remembered. That's kind of, you kind of have to do that to stand out in this business. Rock and roll is such obviously the music has to be there, or you've got nothing. But rock music especially, and pop, and heck, even country. If you go back to Porter Wagoner with with the suits and all that, Elvis, sure. It's a very visual medium. And I've always enjoyed that. I've always gravitated toward, Kiss, David Bowie, Alice Cooper, Rob Zombie, you name it.
Even like Marilyn Manson, man. Like the newer stuff.
Any of the visual guys, I always enjoyed the visual presentation as much as the music. And that was one thing I decided in this project, and I just started experimenting with it. I didn't know where the look thing was going to take me. I didn't even know if it was going to work, but it's kind of a running joke around the band, because I just look like such a hillbilly when I'm not in disguise. I'm the most plain looking guy that you'd ever run into. And I didn't want to do that, because I knew if I went out like that, it's like, well, nobody's going to pay attention to that guy, And so I wanted to do something that, that I would have fun with, and that hopefully people would enjoy. And luckily, the response to what I've been doing and been experimenting with has been really, really positive. People seem to really dig it. And it's a lot of fun to do. And like I say, it's just something I enjoy. I just really enjoy the whole visual side of it. And it's a freeing thing too. I feel like on stage I perform a whole lot better. I'm more
It's like
comfortable when
it's
I'm
like
in
putting on your
character.
Superman.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, I'm much more comfortable when I'm in character like that.
For sure. No, absolutely. I mean, you're definitely speaking my language when it comes to that. I'm a huge Rob Zombie guy. I'm a huge Marilyn Manson guy. I mean, anything like that. I mean, Danzig, like I'll go all day when it comes to that kind of stuff. You know, somebody like Wednesday 13, if you're familiar with him, who's very, very much like in that same like style and stuff. And you know, it's actually kind of funny too with those bands too, is because like despite the fact that, of course, you know, Manson is Manson and Rob is Rob, and you can't have these bands without those guys. But like, I'm a huge fan of like what I like to call the traveling bassist right now for those bands. In this guy, Mac Montgomery, who goes by the name Piggy D or Count D. I'm a huge fan of what he does because I was familiar with him back when he was in Wednesday 13 because I'm an old school pre Wednesday 13 fan. So I was familiar with all the different lineups of the band. And then, you know, he joins Rob Zombie and he was in Rob Zombie for nearly 20 years. And then he, you know, leaves the band and joins Marilyn Manson. And I've always been a huge Manson guy. I think the current album is absolutely genius. I love the direction that he's going with it. And seeing you know, Matt in that band now and seeing, you know, he's super stoked and really happy about that. But the funny thing also about that is with, you know, Ozzy's, you know, retirement, you know, leading up to his passing, but at the time that he stopped touring, that it was kind of interesting because John Five had already left Rob Zombie and started kind of doing his thing and playing with Motley, and Riggs came back into the band from the original Rob Zombie band. And then I remember when Matt left Rob Zombie, and the first thing I remember saying to friends is I was like, watch him call Blasco, because Blasco's out of a job right now, you know? And I mean, he manages the Black Veil Brides anyway, which is one of the biggest bands out there. So, like, I'm sure he's doing just fine. But if he still likes to play out regularly, I was like, watch him call Blasco. And sure enough, that happened, which I thought was just super duper cool because I never got to see Rob with what was the original Rob Zombie lineup. And I was a little worried for Gingerfish, the drummer, just because I was like, oh man, I really hope this doesn't turn into one of those I want to put the OGs back together. Even though John Tempesta seems really, really solid with the Cult and stuff like that, there was a small part of me that was like, no man, but I like Ginger on the throne, man. I would really like to see that. But anyway,
Yeah,
I would
the
definitely.
OGs.
I'm looking forward to catching Rob as soon as I can, so I can actually see, you know, 3/4 of the original lineup. And like I said, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Manson can do no wrong, and I mean, he's killing it right now. And I'm
Yeah.
very curious to see who joins the band actually, because I don't know if you saw recently, but his longtime guitarist Tyler just resigned from the touring band. He's still going to do studio stuff. But now Manson needs a new second guitar player or a new lead guitar player. So
There we go, Marky.
there you go, man.
You need to put your application in.
Engines of Manson.
I love it.
Hey, I'd be down.
Marilyn Ruin.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Call me Marilyn. Give me
Yeah.
a call, Marilyn.
We gotta give you a what does he do? A serial killer and a famous actor?
Oh yeah, a model.
Yeah. Twiggy Ramirez.
Mhm.
Was,
Gingerfish,
Gingerfish.
Madonna Wayne Gacy.
Yep.
I mean, Marilyn Manson's. I mean, that one's just too good. I thought Twiggy
Marilyn Manson was the
that was just too perfect.
You had it.
Right there.
Yep.
I mean, I love Twiggy Ramirez. I mean, I'm a bass guy myself anyway, so like I'm very fond of bass players. But like, I thought that Daisy Berkowitz, I thought he killed it on that one though. I was like, oh man, that's a good one right there. So I definitely like that. Like, I mean, I don't know, like that'd be like an interesting thing to like put together, you know, it's like a model and like you know, and like a serial killer. Like nowadays, like if I was joining that band, I feel like I would have to do something called like Danny Dahmer or something.
Yeah, or do like a old school Killer with like a new age model or something, modern it up.
Oh, for sure. And then, well, that's
Yeah.
kind of how that's kind of how I looked at it a little bit, because like I'm not really that familiar with like who's like really popular and who's like super cool in like models land. I really
That makes all of us, I think, brother.
yeah, the closest thing the person I can really only think of is this like Gotham model that myself and my wife are both fans of, named Danny Devine. So that's kind of where I got that idea from. And
Everything from
Babes and I are both really big fans of the Dahmer series, on that Monster series on Netflix.
oh, that I've watched the Dahmer one several times. That one, it was epically made. The directing, the acting, everything. It was perfect.
Everything was
That
so
whole
good.
series is one of my favorite series.
Yeah.
You know,
Us too. We just finished watching the Ed Gein series. I was super hyped for that forever. But
I did a college paper on Ed Gein, so I was like a little kid about that, you know. And they did such a good job with the furniture and all the skin furniture and everything. It was great.
Yeah. I loved the way they interspliced it with the like movies that it like, you know, influenced.
It inspired,
Yeah, inspired.
Yep.
So like you were
Psycho,
watching it, and
there's
then
so many.
Psycho, and Texas Chainsaw, and I mean Silence of the Lambs. It was so super cool. Like
that was
Babes and I talk regularly about the Menendez brothers season, and like I really liked it. I did think it was very oddly placed. Like I thought that was very risky, because that Dahmer series,
that was like the fluff.
Yeah.
What, that was in between Dahmer and Gein, I think, right?
It was
like
courtroom
home run with Dahmer, home run with Gein, and that one was like, it was cool to watch the story, but
yeah, it was like
those two weren't as crazy as the other two.
Oh yeah, it was like a CNI single.
Yeah,
but like the way that I kind of looked at it, I'm glad they did it. Like I did enjoy it. But that should have been, you know, season like 5. Like really build up this stuff, and then you can you have the ability to go that different direction.
Yeah.
And Angel Brother, I'm going to kick it up to you, let you take it away for a little bit. But I am so fucking hyped for next season, man, because I am a freak for Lizzie Borden. So, like, I am so ready to just be a killing machine, just sitting on my couch with, like, my phone and the remote, like, thrown across the room and being like, just nobody bother.
Yeah. Hide the phone for a bit.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely stoked about that. But, Angel, my good dude, it is all you, my friend.
Man, just want to say thank you so much for your time this evening. You know, you guys were talking about Marilyn Manson and all these other bands. Oh, damn, the light went out. Hold on. Fuck. There we go. Sorry about that. No serial killer was going to come up behind me and kill me, and Jay was not going to pop up suddenly.
That would have been where did he go? Nobody knows. We were talking
and then you see Jay pop up on the screen, just going like, ah.
Yep. Fitting.
Man, I just love that video. I mean, what I love about it is, before the lights went out, like with the Marilyn Manson and those bands, everybody is like the same. Where you guys are all different. So that's something that I like, where everybody's being individual. And that is something that is different.
Yeah.
The one thing I haven't heard since the 90s, hard rock and grunge in the same sentence.
Right? With a little bit of groove to it, you know?
No, I mean, it's cool. I mean, because I just haven't heard the word grunge since the 90s. So it was kind of really cool to kind of see that combined. Because back then, a lot of bands from the hard rock genre were actually trying out grunge, even Kiss, when they did that album, The Carnival of Souls. That was kind of grunge influence, so it was kind of cool to see a band make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was one thing that kind of brought Tony and I together because we both really love, you know, STP, Soundgarden, all those '90s, because to
The
me,
Alice in Chains.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've always loved, my foundation is, the Led Zeppelin and the Black Sabbath trees. I think everything comes, all the branches to me
There we
come
are.
come from Zeppelin or Sabbath, and to me, I love all that '70s stuff. And I guess the thing that I like about a lot of '90s bands so much is it was like the '70s all over again. So many of those bands were so heavily influenced by the '70s guys that all that stuff has that same kind of vibe to it to me, and that stuff just really resonates with me. And so when people started asking us, well, what are you guys? It's like, well, we're a hard rock band, but we're kind of grungy. We're kind of heavy metal at times, depending on what your definition of metal is. To me, metal is Sabbath. To a lot of guys, the hard rock thing that we're doing, they'd say, oh, that's not metal because it's not heavy enough, or what have you. So, it kind of depends on what your definition of metal is, but that was just kind of the best way that I could describe this band to people. It's like, well, we're a hard rock band and we sound kind of grungy. So,
Yeah. When you hear you could hear like the old Alice in Chains stuff and Soundgarden especially. That look, all the grunge. It's got that like that low, muddy stuff. That doom. I mean, Soundgarden, their first record that no one's ever heard is a total doom rock. Like stoner rock almost, and that all came from Sabbath. So I feel like it's all, Sabbath and Zepp were the fathers of, the grunge and then the heavy metal that, we're heavily influenced from, Pantera, Megadeth, and Slayer were all my first loves. So yeah, each hand washes the other when it comes to inspiration and all that.
So when it comes
hard
to
rock grunge is where we landed. What's that?
no, just saying. I remember like in '96, Alice Cooper was like, at some point, someone's going to come out and mix both grunge and hard rock together because this was at the time when hard rock was just in the can. I'm not sure if you guys are old enough to remember the mid '90s, but Iron Maiden was playing clubs, believe it or not, because they had a new singer.
Mm-hmm.
Judas Priest, the same thing, because everybody had a new singer. Anthrax, Crew, yeah.
I mean,
I guess you could blame it on that.
Time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird. That was like a weird time in the '90s where everybody was switching members.
It was like go fish for singers too for a little while. It was like, give me that guy that you just toured with. We're gonna swap bands.
Everybody, Bad Company, Foreigner.
Yep.
Which we don't think about much, but they did.
Yeah.
Bad Company had another singer after Howe left the band.
I mean,
there's something about that. Those like 3 years in the mid '90s, man.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're gonna all try out some new vocalists for a little bit.
And the funny
when did David Lee Roth? I mean, that was earlier than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, same thing.
Yeah, it'd have been 84, 85, I guess, when Dave checked out of Van Halen.
Was it that early?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I'll give a quick shout out to Stephen Polson. I saw him pop up in this chat there.
Oh yeah, can't wait to share the stage with you guys.
Yeah, what's up, Reaper? I love you, brother.
So it seems like you guys are coming to Atlanta.
Yeah, we're playing a show with Steven's band, Vicky's Dream, in Atlanta at the 529 on March 13th. Going to be a Friday the 13th show.
Yeah,
So,
baby.
yeah, Steven, we can't wait, brother. Looking forward to it, man.
I love it.
Man, so
The
what is it?
ATL, man. Those are my initials.
Yeah,
ATL and ATL.
it's crazy. Everybody that plays ATL ends up playing in Nashville as well,
Yeah, it is kind
and
of
vice
a
versa.
yeah. Didn't at our show at the Cobra? Didn't those boys? Didn't they just come up from Atlanta? Or no, they were New Orleans and then us. So yeah, they skipped Atlanta.
So,
It does seem like cool.
like I said, Steven, thank you for watching. If you ever want to come on the show as a guest, let us know because we love supporting everybody. So it's really cool to kind of see you guys like supporting each other. So just want to know, like,
Hey,
what's the vibe?
He's already an alumnus, my guy.
Yeah,
Yeah. Bring
We
him
got
back.
to put him on to see his face
Oh, I know.
because, like, right now you don't see. Oh, damn, wrong thing. Like right now, you don't see my face.
Yeah.
I could make that happen.
Oh boy, these damn vampires. So what else you guys got going on this year? Is there any plans for an EP, a full length album?
Well, go ahead, Mark.
We have got so many songs. Tony can tell you, I've got riffs, like a mountain of riffs piled up, and we just keep whittling away at them. We're trying to, and of course, sometimes the schedule doesn't quite cooperate, but
Sorry.
our goal is to drop a new single
You
about
there?
every 6 weeks or so. We try
Did I
to
lose you guys?
try to always keep something in the pipeline. I got you, Tony. We try to always keep a new song in the pipeline and ready to come out about every 6 weeks or so. Kind of the goal is, and I hope we can get there by around the end of the
I
year.
am not hearing you guys. Everything's frozen. If you could hear
We
me.
hear you.
We hear you.
Yep, we hear you just fine.
Technical difficulties.
That's okay.
It happens. That's how you know we're live.
Yeah.
Are you back?
Yep, he's back.
Anyway, while he's working there. So yeah, we're trying to
Are you guys there?
songs
Did I
coming
lose
out.
you? I can't hear any of you.
Uh-oh.
Keep talking. I'll figure it out.
All right.
Yep.
We're talking. We got you. The goal is because we've got I don't know 6 or so songs in the old catalog that don't have Tony's voice on it. There's a couple of those songs that we're doing in the live.
I'm gonna
set.
jump off and jump back on real quick, guys. Sorry.
There's a couple of those songs that we're doing in the live set that we're going to re-release with Tony singing on them. Put out a remix of those with Tony on them, and with a combination of those. The 3 songs that we have out now that have Tony on them, and then the songs that we've got in the pipeline to release this year. We hope to, when we get, around 8 to 10 songs, we're going to do a vinyl release and, put all those, because that's been our procedure right now is just doing singles, about every 6 weeks, drop a single. And then once we get enough of those, we want to collect them all up in an album package, do a vinyl release, re-release them as a whole album with a new song on it, that sort of thing. So that's what we're working toward as far as song releases.
Mark, I gotta ask because it's right. I gotta ask about that V guitar in the background.
Axe away.
That is a Jackson Scott Ian, and I've actually got 2 of those. That's the first one that I got. Has the mirror pick guard, and then I got to where I was using it quite a bit live, and I thought, man, I really want to, because there's something about the V's. I kind of throw them around and play with them when I'm playing with them live, because it's just such a comfortable guitar, and you can stick it between your leg and dance with it and stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, I really need a backup for this guitar. And I found another one on Reverb that a guy had upgraded and put Seymour Duncan pickups in it, and he changed the pick guard to black. So it's the same guitar, but looks a little different because it doesn't have the mirror pick guard. And I picked that up, and it's actually become my favorite of the two. Of course, I still like that one as well. But I've actually got two of those, and I'm really into the cheaper guitars like that. That's a nice Jackson, and like I say, it's kind of a signature model, Scott Ian, but it's actually an import guitar. It's not like one of the $3,000 or $4,000, signature thing. And I actually gravitate toward the cheaper guitars because I can throw them around and not worry about them as much. And if one of them happens to walk out of a club or something when I'm not looking, I won't be sitting in the parking lot crying quite as hard as I would be if it was, like a real high-end guitar. So
I mean, we cry anyway, but
yeah, I'd cry anyway.
any loss of guitar life.
But not as severely as I would if it was, like a real high-end one.
That's when he's got to light a candle and no one could call him for about a week. You got the Iceman back there? I can't tell.
Yeah, I got the Iceman back
One of my
there.
favorites he's got. He's got the J White Zombie. Do you got the J model? But just
I wish I did. Man, those original ones with the star paint, just green with the star paint job, those things are worth a fortune now.
Yeah.
I wish I did.
J White Zombie signature Iceman. Is one of my all-time favorite guitars.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
I always loved it because green's one of my favorite colors anyway, and so that one with the green sparkle with the stars on it, that's a badass guitar. I just love the Iceman body shape to start with, and just that took it up a notch when he did that green one with the silver stars on it. I love all kinds of guitars.
Yeah, that one in the corner looks like a black Les Paul.
That one there.
Yep,
that is a Vox. It's a semi-hollow, so it's kind of like a ES335 kind of body shape. And I actually got a hold of that guitar because I was looking for something with single coil pickups, because the majority of my guitars, all the guitars that I use live, are humbucker pickups. But a lot of times for recording, there'll be certain tracks where I want like a thinner, brighter single coil sound. And so I was really looking for something with single coil pickups that wasn't a Strat, because I've got a Strat and I use it for some of those things, but I wanted something a little different, something with a little more jangle to it, but not quite a Rickenbacker, not a Strat. And I actually it was just a fluke. I was just poking around one day on Reverb, and I came across the Korg is who distributes the Vox guitars, and on their factory closeout shop, they had a closeout on that guitar going, and it's single coil pickups and it's different. And I thought, man, that's the guitar for me, and I ordered it, and I just love it. A lot of times when I need a clean tone, or like a jangly, more airy guitar tone on a recording, I'll grab that one, and it just works perfect for that, because it's got that single coil brightness and that kind of jangle to it from the hollow body, but yet it's different from like your typical like Strat single coil sound. Steven says, "Where do you get your face paint from, Mark?" Just Amazon. Yeah,
that's his natural.
Yeah, this is actually mate now.
He's wearing makeup now.
I just get it from Amazon. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I use that Mehron brand. It's Mehron, and the base is just the standard clown white. And if you're going to do the white like I do, or like Kiss does, you want the white, clown white grease paint, and then you want to be sure and get the setting powder for it, because that powder is very important to make it last. Because you put the grease paint on, then you hit it with that setting powder, and that kind of sets it where it's not so greasy and feels like it's going to melt off of your face.
Mark, I think you need to start doing like makeup tutorials.
It's funny how
some of
many.
the, like, you know, like some of these high class models.
Oh, it's hilarious how many people message me all the time. Hey, what are you using? How'd you get it? You know, I never thought I'd be a
Makeup
go-to.
expert.
I never thought I'd be a makeup consultant, but it was all just trial and error for me because I'd try something and it didn't work, and I'd go looking for the next thing. And I actually saw there's a YouTube where Gene Simmons is doing his daughter. His daughter's doing the makeup, and he's showing her, you know, do this, do that. It's really funny. They're real humorous when they do it. But he was talking about, you know, get the clown white, and he like gets a big powder puff full of satin powder and just like makes the whole room cloudy, hitting her face with that satin powder and stuff. It's a hilarious video. And I picked up a lot of tips from that because I hadn't tried the clown white until I saw that video. And I saw that video and I said, I'm going to go grab me some clown white. And that was definitely the answer for the base, you know, for the face.
Somebody loves your accent.
Yeah, I'm just an old hillbilly.
I gotta comment on that. One of the kind of funnier things about our band, it's kind of an inside joke now or an outside joke now, but so there's Mark in costume, especially around like the Nash Jam, and you know we do a lot of those shows. He's very well known and very well respected, and not a lot of those same people know the accent or the man behind the mask. And so we'll go early to these Nash jams or go backstage, go in just this. Mark will come up and have a full conversation with people. And they'll go, yeah, okay, that guy was cool. And then come up later in makeup or vice versa, you know, chat with them all night in makeup, and then the next day or something come up behind them, hey man, what's up? And they're like, all right, who's this farmer? Who's this? Oh, that's the guy that you played a show last night with.
No, that ain't that guy. It was hilarious.
That guy is getting on a tractor in 15 minutes.
Yeah. It was hilarious. One of the shows that I played on, it's probably 3 or 4 months ago, at the sound check, the group that I was playing with, they were going to run the song during the sound check before the show. And I always try to wait, use about an hour and a half or so before the show. I'll start putting that makeup on because I don't want to put it on too early and then, you know, it melt or get messed up, you know, before the show. So I always wait a while. So at the rehearsal, I didn't have the makeup on. I was just my normal dorky looking self. And we ran through the song, and the bass player that was on the song, I had played with him on a show before. And I don't know if he thought I had dropped out of the show or whatever, and a different guy was coming in at the rehearsal or whatever, because he never said anything, and he had never seen me. And I can't keep it. It's a funny thing about it, too, is I can't keep up with who has seen me like normal and who has only seen me with makeup on, because, you know, I'm always interacting.
We need a list.
At different stages, yeah, and I'd lose that too. But so we did the rehearsal, you know, went fine, you know, everybody, you know, went backstage, whatever. I went off, found me a little room, put my makeup and stuff on. Well, the show got to going on. It came time for our song, and they had a riser that went up on stage right, and you were supposed to, you know, whoever's playing the song before you, the next band was supposed to gather up on the riser up there and be ready to go on stage because they were turning lineups just real quick every song. And so, you know, the band before us was on, and, you know, he was already standing up there at the top of the ramp, and I walked up, and I guess he thought, you know, that I was going to be in another lineup or something. He's like, so, hey, are you ready? And I said, oh, yeah, I'm ready. He said, well, what song are you playing on? Because he thought I'd walked up too soon or something. I'm like, I'm playing with you. And he's like, "Oh,
You didn't
that
verse
was
with
you."
us.
He's like, "Oh, that was you earlier." And I'm like, "Yeah, that was me earlier." It's just so hilarious because people do not recognize me at all when I'm in. If they've only seen me in makeup, they just don't get it at all if I don't have that disguise on.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about how cool it would be that you pick up somebody and they wake up in the morning and think that they're with a different person. Like, how was I that drunk?
I played a whole show with Mark, and then the same guy was talking to me. Great show we just did. What? What are you talking about?
Where did you come from?
Who are you?
Yeah, it definitely leads to some funny moments.
That
Yeah.
guy that showed up for coffee was nothing like the guy I played with last
Yeah.
night.
Yeah. It makes for good stories. Like, hey, have you ever seen that one farmer-looking guy and Mark Anders in the same room together?
Or you know what? Just to fuck with people, be like, "Have you seen this guy?" And
Yeah.
just kind of like guy makeup. Yeah, he should be around here.
Yeah. Ask the unmasked Mark. Hey,
You know,
have you seen this guy? Nope.
like, nope, never seen him before ever in my life.
Never in my life.
But if I get in trouble, it was always that guy.
Yep. 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 It was always the other guy with Mark.
That's the best part.
So it's Mark in 100 acres. 100, not 100. 100.
100.
100 acres. That's his alter ego.
Oh, that's such a sweet question.
You want to take that one, Tony?
You know,
Well,
2
I
minutes
can't
each. Describe your influences, your sound, and what do you like the most about your bandmates?
Ooh. Hold on, I gotta make sure my phone ain't gonna die real quick. I got a few. I gotta find a charger while I'm talking, but let's see. Describe my influence. Well, I mean, like he was saying earlier, the trees all stem from Zeppelin and Sabbath, for me. And actually, my first thing I ever loved, and this is like the trick question on the trivia later, but my first ever thing that I ever liked when I was like 2 years old was Billie Holiday, the jazz singer, you know, and I actually think my voice, although I got so many influences in singing and music, I think I don't sound like her, but the way she bends her notes and does these eerie stuff, I think that's where I got the most of my influence. But I would say my gospel, as far as singing, like my Bible, is Chris Cornell. That's he's it. Now and then all the '90s guys, Lane Staley is on my Mount Rushmore. Um, Robert Plant, as far as singers, and Jimmy Page as far as songwriting. And I've learned I love every music with a passion, but I love the best of the best. The forefathers of all kinds of music. But '90s grunge is people identify that with me. But I mean, the '70s classic rock scene was my first big push, and I got into metal. I mean, that was my transition was classic rock, heavy metal, and then grunge. And then it all just I listen to all of that equally now. Um, and I think that's to go with my bandmates. I mean, me and Mark especially, the first couple weeks, we're driving around together. That's all we talk about was, okay, where's it come from? Where's these riffs come from? Where's that? And you could hear it in both of my singing and his playing, a little bit. His top five and my top five are kind of clearly in there, but we both were like, yep, Zepp, Sabbath. We love how the marketing giant of Kiss. That's how they held themselves and carried themselves is an influence of both of ours, I think. And so I think because our influences are so similar, you know, we just naturally got that camaraderie like pretty quick, because it was like, you love that, I love that, you love that, I love that, you love that. Cool. We got ourselves a band.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, find you a charger, Tony. Don't go
Yeah,
dead on
yeah.
us.
I'll let you answer. I'm gonna go find a charger.
Well, I started playing guitar because of the man that we just recently lost, Ace Frehley. You know, when I was a kid and I saw Ace, I thought that was just the most badass, coolest thing that I'd ever seen in my life. And that's what made me pick up guitar to start with. And I think that also started my love of the show, you know, the big rock show. Um, but you know, even going back, you know, before the 70s, you know, any of the cats that are, and I mean they're obviously incredibly talented musicians and performers, but you know, any of the cats that deliver on stage, whether it be Elvis or Jerry Lee Lewis, you know, Little Richard, even those cats from way back in the day. Um, you know, I love that stuff. But bands and influences, you know, beyond Kiss, I'm sure I'll leave a lot out, but as we've already said, Zeppelin, Sabbath, Pink Floyd, Aerosmith, Eagles, STP, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, you know, Pantera, Metallica, big Limp Bizkit fan. Obviously, the showmanship and the artistry that Wes Borland has, but I've always been a huge fan of their music as well. Those guys have some of the most powerful grooves and are just masters. And I think it's part of the reason that they have made such a huge resurgence, you know, over the last 10 years or what have you. Man, guys that can work an audience and get that whole stadium or room that they're in, you know, bouncing and moving, those guys are absolute masters of the groove and getting an audience into it and getting the whole audience moving as one, you know, one organism. You know, all that kind of stuff appeals to me. But, you know, Limp Bizkit, Stained, you know, all kinds of those bands in the more 2000s, this area I enjoy. You know, just anything and everything. Any good music appeals to me, and you know, but that's some of the key core influences. And as far as bandmates, you know, this dude here, Tony, he has the voice that I love. He's got that character to his voice. He's very talented melodically. A lot of times, and not always, sometimes I'll just hand him a piece of music and say, hey, here, go do something with this. But oftentimes too, I'll have a melody idea and we'll get together and I'll say, hey, I've got kind of an idea for a lyric to start this part, and I've got a melody, and you know, I'll play him the melody. Man, he'll just jump right on it. And you know, sometimes let's change this or that, and we work really well together from that standpoint. And something I love about Tony, neither one of us have an ego. You know, he'll say, yeah, I don't know about that, let's try this, and I'm like, sure. And I'll do the same with him. I'll say, well, I don't know about that, let's try this. And between the two of us, we make the whole product a lot better, you know, because sometimes that's a challenge with some guys. You try to write and you may make a suggestion and they instantly get defensive and what have you. And you just can't get the best finished product once you throw your defenses up, you know. And Tony and I don't have that issue at all. So it makes it real easy to work together, and, you know, whatever whatever product, whatever level we get to, we at least get it to the highest level that the two of us can, because we really work well in checking each other, and you try this or you try that, and so it's just really an enjoyable process.
Well, to add on to that thought, and add on to my favorite things about my bandmates, um, I think where we both kind of found relief right away was, we've all been in a million bands, and that's the thing when you're trying to write with people. People are so into what they did that they won't budge or they won't even try anything. And me and him had several conversations early on going, hey, we're going to be slaves to the song, not our ego. If you write a killer vocal line that I didn't write, but it's killer, we're going to go with that. If I come up with the killer guitar line, and, and we've had that in most of our bands to where you can't, get around that. So I think that's a good thing we both have, is we're not afraid to try anything or throw anything at the wall. It's really, that ego isn't there. It's like, hey, what if we did this in C sharp? Let's try it. We rarely are ever going, I don't even, that sounds, we'll at least try something, so
At what point do you know when the song is finished and not to do anything else?
We're musicians. It's never finished. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. You do have to kind of know when to call it, when to call it done. And for me, it's two stages, because it's both when is the song done, and then it's also when is the production done, because I also do the mixing and the mastering of our releases. So, I'm looking at it from two perspectives, so we have to kind of finish the song first and know that's done, and then I have to finish, and of course I run it by Tony. Well, what do you think about this mix? Well, what if we do this or do that, or he'll say, oh, the vocal's not loud enough there, or what have you. And so we confer on that too, but I'm kind of the one turning the knob. But yeah, I mean, the short answer is when it just gets to that point and I'm listening to it and it's like there's nothing else that I hear that needs to be added or needs to be corrected. That's pretty much when I know it's done. And usually I try to give it, when I think it's done, I try to give it a couple of weeks and then come back and listen again and make sure, because sometimes, you let something rest a little while and you come back like, I can't believe I left that like that. That needs to change. You hear something from a different perspective when you let it set a little while. But yeah, it is very important not to overcook the stew, so to speak. To know when to quit.
When we both kind of have a good sense on, like, we have a little bit of a checks and balances. Right when we both kind of are feeling something's getting close, it's like, he'll email me like, hey, I got this new mix. I turned up the snare, turned up this, blah, 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 a couple of instructions. Drive around with this for a day, before we talk about it. And I'm thinking this is close. What do you think? And then, we'll spend a day or two just cutting up notes, but we kind of just whittle it down, at that point. And we both have been pretty much in agreement with, like, yeah, this one's pretty close. There hasn't really been a moment where it's like, I think this is done, and I'm over here like, this isn't even started. What are you talking? So we both got a kind of a good sense, and we've both been in bands where we've overcooked a lot of songs. So there is that finite. You could beat a song to death and add 17 more riffs, or have that sense of like, no, this is perfect. Leaves them wanting a little bit more,
Does it ever? Do you guys ever? Because some bands, they will keep the alternate demo versions of the songs, So does the band keep different versions of the song? Or
Yeah, I pretty much don't throw anything out. I've got,
Yeah.
I've got kind of all the stages from the rough demo to the, mix number 1 to mix number 20, if it gets that far, and what have you. I pretty much have all those, and have, like the alternate things, and at some point, of course, we're always so focused on what's next, but there may be times at some point where we can go back, dig back on a song. If a song got to be somewhat popular, we could probably go back at some point and dig up, like, well, here's an alt mix that we might want to put out, or that kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm bad not that. Well, I shouldn't say bad, because sometimes that saves you, but I'm pretty good about not ever throwing anything out. I'll just file it away to where I'm not looking at it anymore, because it's not forefront in my mind. But I pretty much save everything.
cool. Jay, I'm gonna kick it back up to you.
Absolutely, brother, for sure. No, when you were talking about Jay Unger, I thought that was like super duper cool, for sure. Just like we had talked about when it came to like Rob Zombie, because like I met him like probably about 10 years ago, and it was maybe a little less, but they did a White Zombie reunion at a horror con that I went to. They had Jay there, they had Sean there, they had John there, and it was so
Nice.
super
The
rad.
OGs.
Yep. And the thing that was super cool about that is just being a White Zombie fan. I had long since gone back and like researched different players. Like, I like Sean Isold is actually one of my bass just influences in general. And she did a bunch of other cool projects outside of White Zombie, like, like Stars and Daggers and Rock City Morgue and Famous Monsters. I mean, she did a lot of other really, really cool.
I met her by accident when she was touring with Famous Monsters.
Oh, really?
I was on tour. Yeah, it was, and we all had a crush on Sean when we were young.
Exactly.
That was this chick, just this helicopter headbanging,
I did just in the
straight
hip,
to my heart.
and the hips are just going.
Oh yeah, dude. It was she was like, to me, Sean was like the metal, like, picture of a metal chick,
Yeah.
She was the Webster's definition of the metal chick.
Mhm. No, 100%. And
Yeah.
it was funny. So like I still have it. I actually need to bring it out and reframe it and hang it in my house. But like I have the vinyl from Jay's band from when he was 16 years old. They were called Rights of the Accused. And so when they announced that all these White Zombie people were coming in, like I was shooting my shot. I collected all of my stuff because I didn't know when I was going to be in the same room with all these people again. So I was John Tempest. I was bringing like an Exodus record he played on, and Testament, and my White Zombie stuff, and like I was bringing like everything. Same with Jay. I was bringing Rights of the Accused and my White Zombie stuff, and like stuff that he even like casually played on. Like he played on like it was like a Fugazi or like a Fu Manchu record or something that he like produced or something. So like I brought everything, and then Sean, my stack was like this fucking big because it was like all my White Zombie stuff. It was like her book, like Famous Monsters, Rock City Morgue, Stars and Daggers, like all this kind of stuff. But Jay's reaction to the fact that I had this record from when he was 16 years old, he literally signed the record to Jay. That's insane.
I love it.
He was just a really, really cool guy.
He was like, it's you and my dad and my uncle. That's the three people that have that record.
Pretty much. He was like, dude, can I take a picture of this? I was like, bro, it's your record. Of course you can. He's like, I have to send this to my old singer.
Yeah.
But that I thought was super duper cool for sure.
I'll tell you guys something that ties in with the zombie thing, and I don't know if other people find this as interesting as I do, but I'll tell you anyway. One thing it ties in too with what we were talking about the songs and the production and knowing when it's finished. The thing that really, well, among many things, but the thing that really stood out to me always with the zombie stuff was, something that was very unique when White Zombie came out to me was his use of percussion tracks in the music. Just all those rhythmic tracks in heavy metal. If you took the heavy metal aspect of it away, it'd be like a dance record or something.
Yeah.
The
There's
way
some
he
techno
sets up,
stuff in there. There's some rave stuff in there.
yeah, the way he sets up those grooves with all those percussion tracks. And in our song Rake that we just put out, and I actually didn't tell Tony this. I don't know if Tony has heard it in there or not, but I kept listening to the final mix, and there was something about the cymbals, the drums. There was something about it just wasn't quite what I thought it should be, and I kind of had tweaked the overheads and tweaked the drum sound as far as I wanted to take. I still felt like there's needed something in there percussion wise to drive the track. And so I actually ended up the whole Rob Zombie thing came into my mind, and I actually ended up adding a tambourine and a shaker track in, and I put it in the mix to where, to me, and nobody else has ever commented, I didn't expect to hear that tambourine in there. I put it in the mix to where, to me, you don't hear it unless I take it out. It's one of those things that's just there enough just to help drive the track rhythmically, but unless I go and actually turn it off, I don't notice it's there. But that's just when you started talking about Zombie, and he had asked about finishing the songs and stuff, that popped into my head because that was a Rob Zombie influence that really helped me finish that track, because I was just thinking, man, this just needs something in here rhythmically to drive it a little more, and I was kind of fighting with it for a little bit because I'd kind of taken the drum part as far as I felt like I could take it, and then it hit me. That's what I'll do. I'll throw a tambourine and a shaker in there and just bury it in the mix. And for my taste anyway, it ended up working.
Oh, no, for sure. I mean, Angel and I brought this up on the show before. Like, one of our favorite ways that a guest ever described the way that they finished their songs is they're like, well, you don't ever finish a song, you abandon it.
Yeah, I love that.
And I was like, that's going to become a mainstay of this show.
Yeah.
I bet most musicians could agree to that.
Yeah.
Most songwriters. Oh, yeah.
But I always thought that was like super duper cool. And yeah, I've always loved that ravish aspect. And again, it goes back to the way that also Sean comes across visually in the music videos. That's not exactly hard on the eyes when it comes to that kind of stuff. Well, one thing that I also wanted to bring up as well is like Tony, when it comes to like your like tone and your style, because you had talked about it before, you can definitely hear your influences in that. But there's like listening to like songs like Rake, and one of the other songs that I'll get into as well is like I love the tone that you have for things, and it got me thinking about like other bands of that like era that I really really like. And while I dominantly listen to like mostly like goth rock and horror punk, like 80s glam and stuff like that, I've always been and it was funny because Angel and I were talking about this band recently because we want to reach out to them. I'm a big Gin Blossoms fan, and I was like, man, if there's a time that Tony and Mark just feel like it might be fun to play with a cover or something, I'm like, I just feel with Tony's tone there could be such
I've covered a few Gin Blossom songs.
Have you?
I'm right in that wheelhouse, man.
Yeah.
You're not wrong in what you're saying.
Where I'm like, man, I feel like some heavier guitars on like a song like, like Forgot About You or something like that could make such a
chunk it up a bit.
Yeah. Exactly.
Don't tell Mark, man. You put a bug in his ear and he'll have it by tomorrow morning. He'll have riffs.
No, for sure. And I was like, oh man, that would just be cool, because I've always loved that band.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
that stuff is in
yeah.
my wheelhouse, man. You know,
Yeah.
that whole era. I'll attempt all of it.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. And the other song too that I wanted to bring up as well is because again I love the look, I love the style, and I also love the artwork that you guys put out with it, with of course like the Cannibal Corpse girl. Is talk a little bit about To Your Grave.
Oh,
What you got,
um,
Tony?
well, so that one, Mark had that riff for a while, and actually that was one of the first I remember when we first started. Because we started, we our first song we ever did was like a collective. It wasn't one of his old ones. We kind of, came together. But that riff, I mean, I think I asked him one of our first conversations. And we're just talking about stuff, and I was just like, "Hey, what do you?" I believe it was called Downturn at the time, and I was like, "Yeah, this song's great. That song, this song, but what do you got? What do you got for vocals on this?" And he was just like, "Well, I was messing around with that a while ago, and it's just kind of been on the shelf, and I'm trying to revamp it a little here." And he had a visualizer video for it that was really cool, and I just kind of got into that mode. It's this dark, dreary thing, but I was fighting with the chorus because I was like, I told him, he writes these wicked riffs, and they intimidate the hell out of me, because I'm like, I can't write a half-ass riff or vocal line to this. So that one was like haunting me. And I got the verse and some other parts, like the skeleton of it, like pretty easy, but I'm like, this chorus is haunting me. I'm just like, I tried some things. I'd probably email him something and be like, "Oh, I got it, Mark, got it." Hang up with him and be like, "I don't got it." It's terrible. And then one day when I was just like, I'm gonna put this song down for a minute. I'm not even gonna think about it. That's always when it comes, right? It took me like 30 seconds of just sitting down. I'm like, I'm gonna watch some football or something, and I just hummed the line, you know, "Take it to your grave," and I was like, that's it, done. And I didn't tell him. I flew out to Nashville. We had a recording session, and I just sang it. And his first reaction, I was like, oh no, he hates it. I screwed up, because he just kind of was sitting there for a minute. I'm like, ah. And I'm trying to over explain. I'm like, well, I could change. I could, switch the key. And he just turned and went, "That's fucking it, brother. I think you got it. I think you got it." So, and then we just built, the concept around it. It kind of just wrote itself, to be honest. It was one of those ones. Once you got the right everything, then it writes itself. So
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah, that song, I had that main riff for it, and I actually released, and they're both out. They're both on our Spotify, YouTube, all that stuff. I had first released it as an instrumental, and I did kind of an unusual thing with it, because it has a real like minimalistic like percussion track to it, with just like all these little sparse hits. I mean, you can definitely feel the rhythmic pulse, but it's very minimalistic. Has like some little atmospheric like keyboard things, strings and things happening in it. And I had released it like that just because I thought it was cool. It was something different. I loved the guitar line and what have you. And the chorus was the same basic idea, but spun out a much different way on the instrumental version. And we had been talking, Tony and I had been talking. He's like, "Man, that riff there." He's like, "We need to." I said, "Yeah, that would be a great one to do a different version of, and put vocals on it. Just make it a different, obviously keep the key elements, but turn it into a whole new song with vocals." And luckily I took the original chorus idea that was on the instrumental version, and I sat down and worked with it just a little while, and I came up with a guitar part, a new like heavier guitar part with all these like. One thing I mentioned the STP influence. I was always really influenced by Robert DeLeo and the chords that he uses, because he throws like a lot of jazz chords into hard rock.
Yeah,
And
minor fourths and fifths.
yeah, and it just turned out that this chord progression that I came up with, I was thinking, man, Robert DeLeo would probably dig this because it's got a lot of really strange chords in it, but it just, it was what worked. And I played that for Tony, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's what I'm after." But yeah, when he came in, he's like, "Man, I think I got this chorus." And usually we'll listen to something, and it's not that there's anything wrong with what he brings in, but usually I'll have what about this? What if we do, because my mind, for better or worse, and I'll say it's for better, because I'd hate to get in a situation where I don't feel creative, but my mind like never shuts off. The wheels are always turning. So usually when he brings something in, I automatically start hearing options. It's like, well, let's try this, let's try that. And yeah, I think I didn't do it on purpose, but I think it kind of freaked him out, because when he came in and sang the idea down for me that he had for that chorus, I was just sitting here because I was like, it took me a minute to be like, man, I got nothing, because that sounds perfect to me. And I think I finally, after a minute,
I think your exact words were after I think we got it was, and because I kept going, well, I could go up instead of down on this note or what. He was like, I wouldn't change a damn thing.
Yeah, I said, I wouldn't change a thing. I said, I don't hear anything that needs changing in that. And that's the way it stayed, because like y'all talked about earlier, knowing when something's done, I'm like, man, that's done, that's good.
Yeah.
Absolutely, for sure. And talk also a little bit about the music video that you guys put out for that song, because and I'm always very, very partial to like music videos that do show the band performing in a live setting. But talk a little bit about the design of that video, because you also do a combination of like lyric videos for your songs as well, but this one was an actual performance video. And what was your guys' thought process on that?
What you got, Tony?
Oh, well, I don't know, it's kind of funny. We got like both sides. Like, we both like to be kind of scripted with a lot of things, and we kind of got a good idea, especially when we come to the other guys. Usually me and Mark have already had 6 or 7 conversations about whatever we're doing. So like with videos, we kind of start throwing around ideas usually when we're still recording stuff, like, hey, I'm kind of feeling this, and we did a video before, and so we're kind of taking like, I kind of like these light combinations, and we kind of want this type of feel. And so after 6, 7 conversations of that, we kind of started whittling it down to, well, what do we have? What can we do? Our team of people, what do we got going on? What kind of lights can we get in here? And then we sort of just kind of start building a script in a makeshift screenplay, not really anything written down, but just us going, well, let's just try everything. We got a rough idea, we got the concept, so let's just shoot everything 100 times and see what we get. So it's kind of shooting from the hip, and having everything.
Oh, I think we lost him.
Phone down.
Uh-oh. Well, hopefully he'll get back up there. Yeah, the video thing has been fun for us, because it's been kind of a whole new learning process for us, because we've been experimenting with trying to do it ourselves. And so that's been a whole new thing of learning cameras and like, well, do we want to shoot this on a cell phone or a GoPro or, and what's the best way to do it and what do we want to try with lighting? So it's been a kind of a fascinating process for us, and like the stuff that doesn't work out like we expected to, it's like, well, that doesn't look as, that picture's not as sharp as we want it to be.
Sure.
A lot of times it's still cool. It's like, well, I kind of like the lo-fi vibe of that, so let's use it anyway,
For
And so
sure.
it's a lot of that kind of stuff, a lot of trial and error. And I was doing today some editing. We actually just this past Saturday got together and shot footage for a video for Rake, because that video that you saw was for To Your Grave, the one that was the performance video. And we slipped out a lyric video for Rake the other day, but then we're also working on getting this, performance video, music video, quote unquote, put together for it. And so we came in and with some, from what we learned from the other one, came in with some new ideas and some new things to try. And just like always, some of the ideas work, some of them don't. And we had a lot of fun. I ended up we did some shots with me like throwing guitars and stuff. So just a lot of things that were fun to do. It's like, well, let's see what this looks like, when we get it on camera and stuff like that. So we just try to have fun with the video thing and hopefully get something out of it that people enjoy watching.
Absolutely, Mark. 100% for sure. Metal Summoners, also on that note, we really appreciate you guys. You guys have been kicking ass all night. We really appreciate you supporting the show. More importantly, supporting the band. It is, however, going to be that time, though. It is going to be last call for alcohol. We're going to hang out with Mark for a little bit longer, and Tony, if we can get him back in as well. But it is going to be that time for final questions, comments, anything you want to ask the band about what they've got going on for the history of the band, what they've got going on for 2026, anything that myself or Angel don't cover for you. Make sure you guys put your questions or your comments into the comment section, so that way we see it and we can make sure that Mark and Tony are able to answer your questions, because if we don't see it, they don't get to see it. So it is last call for alcohol there, Metal Summoners. Final questions and comments. Now is the time to get it in. Angel, let's kick it up to you, my friend, as we go around the table one more time.
And bring it on, people. Throw us a comment if you got it.
Mm-hmm.
We're not even charging for answers tonight, whether they're
not today,
whether they're correct or not. They're free.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're losing them.
We're losing peeps. That's all right. I'll start this one off, and then I'll kick it up to Angel. So, I mean, it's our New Year's episode there, Mark. We're kicking off the year with you, and talk a little bit about what you can tell us about your current plans for 2026. Of course, we understand there's certain things you may not be able to discuss, but at least as far as what is either announced or that you're allowed to talk about, what are your current plans for 2026?
Well, as I mentioned before, we want to keep the tunes coming out. We've got a lot of songs in process and in the pipeline. And hey, I think you need to mute your mic there again, Tony. If you can hear me, there you go. And so keep the songs coming, and a big push that we're trying to make for this year is to get out and do some more shows. And so we've been trying to reach out to different promoters and booking agents, because that's something that I think we kind of lack somewhat in is connections in that arena, because we're going to want to get out live more and get in front of more people and move up the ladder on that, because eventually, we'd love to be out touring the world, so to speak. We'd love to be playing the larger festivals and things as we move up the ladder. And I mean, we're not, I'm not naive about that. We've still got work to do. We're still a growing, developing band, but that's the goal, is just to keep working it, keep putting out quality material, keep working on our live show, and move up that ladder and get out and get the thing in front of more people.
Absolutely, for sure. Tony, you kind of popped in on us while I was asking that question to Mark. What can you tell us about thoughts for this upcoming year, 2026?
Um, yeah, I guess to add on to his, and I came in halfway through, so I guess that first charger wasn't charging. Um, yeah, live is my favorite thing to do, and I want to get out of town a little bit more this year. Get into a lot more markets, and maybe jump on some of these hard rock festivals a couple times this summer. I would love to get on a few of those. Um, Want to connect with some newer bands that are doing what we do, across the country, across the world. I love meeting new people that are doing what we're doing, because we're all kind of soldiers doing in the fight. So, I want to do some big shows with some badass other bands. That's my main thing, and keep releasing. I want to keep a good stream of new stuff coming out of us because we got a lot of it. So, no, not lacking. Yeah,
Absolutely, man. 100% for sure. Angel,
yeah.
my friend, let me kick it over to you.
Well,
Angel, you've turned into a swirling circle.
yeah. He's just repeating himself.
He is, for sure. The brain is just thinking. So one of the things that we always want to make sure, and I just want to make sure that we get it taken care of as well and covered, of course, just in case I lose Angel, is that talk a little bit about where you guys can be found. Of course, one of the things that also aids in a band being able to continue to tour and record is the accessibility to not only fans getting out to come see them, but also things like merch. So if there's a merch store, we definitely want to hear about it. Of course, also, where can Engines of Ruin be found?
People can find kind of links to anything off of our website. That'd be kind of the catch-all. So they can go to enginesofruin.com. And as you said, they can find merch. They can find links to all of our songs. They can find lyric sheets for the songs. I've also been putting out some guitar playthroughs, like I put out like part of Rake the other day. There's kind of the whole rundown of our song "Fear Is God." Those are on YouTube. There's links off of the website to those. And another thing that we're going to add at the website, hopefully sooner than later, I've just got to get around to start posting them up there. We're also going to have a guitar tab for the songs available on the website. So people can come to the website. They can help us out by buying some merch because obviously, as everybody knows, you don't make any money on streaming unless you're really, like 1 million listeners a month or something, which obviously we're not at that level yet. So, if people like the band and want to kind of help us along financially, merch is a great way to go on that. And we've got a good web store there with all kinds of options, t-shirts, hats, hoodies, sweatshirts, so forth and so on. So yeah, that helps a lot. But yeah, go to the website. You can find everything, enginesruin.com. And then beyond that, just anywhere that you like. If you're a Spotify user, a YouTube user, Apple Store, just go and type in Engines of Ruin if you're there, and it'll, we'll come up in the search there. And another thing that we like for everybody to do that's listening is go hit us on Bands in Town and follow us on Bands in Town. And that way, if we're as successful as we want to be at getting out and coming to new cities and doing shows, that way you'll get the notifications when we post new shows in your area.
Absolutely. No, for sure. Because that's always like one of the biggest things as well, is always making sure that the the band can be found and heard and everything for that when it comes to any of the fans that are watching, and whether they're learning about you for the first time because of the conversation that we're having, or they're already familiar with you and they're like, oh, sick, that's cool, the guys are doing a new interview. So we definitely always appreciate it when it comes to that. Angel, my friend, I want to kick it back up to you, man, as long as we got a strong connection, buddy. If there's anything final that you wanted to ask, my guy.
Man, just definitely hope you guys come back on the show. One thing that, Mark, you actually mentioned earlier, you came up with the title first. Is that something, like what percentage of the time does that happen where you come up with a title first and just build around that?
Probably not often. Now there are times when I have written more of the song, when I have a hook, I have a title for the song in my head, and I'll give that to Tony. It's like, hey, what do you think about these lyrics? And sometimes he'll adjust them or what have you. So there are sometimes when I have a more complete song that has lyrics, or at least part of the lyrics, and has melodies, and I'll just give Tony the whole package and we'll start working from that. As far as a song like Rake, where I just had the music, on my end, and didn't have any concept at all for lyrics, I'll just make the title something that I remember. Usually it's something that has to do with how the riff is made or how it makes me feel or something. And again, that one was just because of the opening, little salvo in the guitar riff is just a rake holding harmonics, just raking across the strings, just kind of making a noise. And so I just titled the demo Rake because that would remind me when I'm looking through the file, oh yeah, that's that thing. And it just so turned out that Tony was inspired by that and said, oh, I'm going to make a song called Rake off of your demo that's titled Rake. And
that first riff, I mean, it almost sounds like the guitar's saying rake. So you couldn't get past it.
But yeah, it goes all ways. Oftentimes it's just some word or phrase that ends up having nothing to do with the song, just because that's just what I labeled the demo, just to have a file for it. Yeah, it goes all ways.
You guys froze a second. Here we go.
There we go.
It's been happening to everybody.
Yep.
What'd you say, Angel?
It's been happening to
What's
everybody.
up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, 100%. Absolutely. Angel, how are we looking on the board here, my friend?
Looking good.
Good? Awesome, man, for sure. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like Tony and Mark, we really appreciate you guys. We can't, thank you guys enough for giving us a little bit of time. And the one thing that's actually also kind of like funny about this is, I don't know if you guys have been told this yet, but after I had reached out to the band, and Mark, you and I got to cataloging schedules for you guys to come on the band, your PR person, Lisa, found me on my horror podcast because I have a horror movie podcast as well, and I got an email on me and my colleague's website email address from her, like, hey, wanted to let you guys know about Engines of Ruin with the new single Rake. Let us know what you think. And I wrote her back. I was like, thank you so much for the introduction to let me know. I was like, I've talked to the guys and they're going to be on my other show in like 3 days. So check it out.
Awesome. That's awesome.
But it was super duper cool. It was just kind of funny. I was like, because it's just the way that the intro web works, I guess, because I was like, Ron and I don't use the Vampire and Devil email for like a lot of music stuff. It always kind of like intertwines, but it's like, Angel's email, the TMS email, my professional email. It's like it's usually how we handle most of that kind of stuff. But when you guys popped up on like my horror podcast email, I was like, hey man, I don't know how it happened, but I'm here for it.
The internet's listening, right?
It totally is for sure.
Yeah,
But again, Mark, Tony, we really, really appreciate your guys' courtesies. Thank you so much for being down for the cause. And the thing that's the most important to myself and that Angel is that you guys enjoyed yourself this evening. You had a good time. You felt respected. And that you felt that in any way, shape, or form, our little interview show could benefit Engines of Ruin in any way, shape, or form for your continued success.
Oh, absolutely, man. This was a ball. I had a ball today. I love talking shop with good people, man. I'll do this all the time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, guys, we really appreciate you guys having us on here and enjoyed the conversation immensely. Would definitely love to come back, hook up with you next year or something and have a visit with you again. You guys are fantastic.
Awesome.
You guys got a good thing here. I'm a fan of this. This is a good thing you're doing for the whole musical community, man. It's awesome.
Awesome. No, we definitely appreciate it for sure. I feel like you guys would also, because like while your two bands are very stylistically different, I feel like, with Mark's on stage look, I feel like you guys would have a great show with my buddies from Knoxville in a band called Summoner Circle. I feel like you guys would have a really, really good show together. Because
let's chat with them.
Yeah, dude, because those guys they're super theatrical as well. So
love it.
Definitely have to check that out for sure. But absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Listeners, thank you guys so very much for rocking out with us tonight and showing Engines of Ruin so much love. Make sure you guys are checking them out, supporting them on all of their socials, their website, supporting them on bands in town, and going out to support them, picking up some merch, anything that you can do to assist them to continue to put out music and play shows for you guys. When it comes to the Metal Summit, you guys can follow Angel at Angel Alamo 78 on Instagram. You can also find him on Facebook as well. For myself, you can find me at Salem.Vampire under Instagram. I can also be found under that moniker on Facebook. And I also have a personal page as well. And also, our man behind the scenes in Psycho Steve, you can find him at PsychoStevePresents.com. And you can find him at The Real Psycho Steve on Instagram. When it comes to the Metal Summit, please make sure that you guys are liking, following, and subscribing to our Facebook and our YouTube page. That's where the interview takes place. That's where you're watching the guys right now, and that's where the interview is happening at. But then if you like knowing what we've got coming up, whether it is special appearances for things that I'm doing, Angel's doing, or things that we're doing collectively as far as hosting or appearances, make sure you guys are following the Metal Summit Instagram because a lot of our announcements come out there first. But that's going to sign us off for our first episode of the new year with Angels of Ruin. Again, thank you guys so much. Over the weekend, we'll put out the guest announcement for next week, and we will see you guys in a week. But have a great rest of the week. Be good, keep listening to music, and take care of each other. Be good, keep listening to Engines of Ruin, and we'll see you guys in a week. As always, you've been watching.
Thanks, brothers. Appreciate it.